The courtroom was silent. Only the sound of the ceiling fan and my heartbeat filled the air. The judge leaned forward, adjusted his glasses, and said, "Play the recording." My ex-boss shifted in his seat. His lawyer went pale. I folded my hands, staring straight ahead. No fear left, just truth. As my voice echoed through the speakers, I finally felt it. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers back. 3 years earlier, I thought I'd found my dream job. A growing marketing firm in Chicago, young team, flexible hours, decent pay. On my first day, my boss, Mark Sullivan, greeted me with a charming smile. "Welcome aboard, Sarah. I expect big things from you." He seemed smart, funny, confident, everything a good leader should be. The first few months were perfect. Late nights, coffee runs, shared jokes, a team that felt like family. Then things changed, slowly, quietly. Mark started crossing lines, subtle at first. Comments like, "You look way too good to be behind a desk," or "You're too emotional to handle big clients." I laughed it off. I needed the job. But when I started speaking up, offering ideas in meetings, pushing for fairness, he stopped laughing. He began cutting me out of projects. Emails forgotten, meetings rescheduled without me, my ideas stolen. And then one night, the mask fell completely. It was 9:30 p.m. We were the only ones left in the office. He stood too close as I finished a report. "Sarah, you're talented, but you need to learn your place." I froze. Then he said it, the thing that still makes my skin crawl. "Respect goes both ways. You show me loyalty, I'll show you opportunity." I remember whispering, "That's not loyalty. That's manipulation." He smirked, leaning in closer. "Careful. You wouldn't want to sound insubordinate." That's when I hit record. 2 days later, HR called me in. They said I'd been disrespectful, unprofessional, uncooperative. Mark had filed a report, full of lies. I was fired on the spot. No warning, no chance to defend myself. When I asked to speak, the HR manager said, "This decision is final. You signed the code of conduct. Remember?" Yeah, I remembered. But I also remembered pressing record. The weeks after were brutal. No job, no income. Friends from work stopped replying. My reputation was ruined, one whisper at a time. Every interview ended with the same polite rejection. We decided to go in a different direction. But I knew it wasn't direction, it was defamation. I cried. I screamed. And then one morning, I stopped doing both. I opened my laptop, dragged the audio file into a folder labeled evidence, and I emailed a lawyer. His name was Alan Drake, an older attorney, quiet and sharp. After listening to the recording, he looked up and said, "They called this insubordination?" I nodded. He smiled faintly. "Good. Then let's redefine the word." We filed for wrongful termination, harassment, and defamation. It took months. Depositions, witness statements, endless paperwork. Mark denied everything, of course. His company's lawyers painted me as a disgruntled ex-employee. But paper can lie. Audio cannot. The day of the trial, my hands shook as I entered the courtroom. Mark sat across from me, perfectly tailored, perfectly smug. When he looked at me, he smiled like we shared a secret. He still thought he could win. He didn't know what was coming. The judge asked me to testify. I stood, voice trembling but steady. "I was fired for standing up for myself," I said. "But that's not insubordination. That's integrity." When my lawyer asked to submit the recording, Mark's lawyer objected. Inadmissible, irrelevant. The judge disagreed. Overruled. Let's hear it. The sound filled the courtroom. Mark's voice, dripping arrogance. You show me loyalty, I'll show you opportunity. Then mine. That's not loyalty. That's manipulation. Silence. Mark's face went red. His attorney shifted in his chair. The judge's eyebrows lifted slightly. The smallest flicker of disgust. That moment lasted forever. And then the gavel struck. 2 weeks later, I got the call. The court ruled in my favor. Full damages, public apology, legal fees covered. I sat in my apartment holding the printed verdict and laughed. Not out of joy, but disbelief. For the first time in years, someone believed me. I didn't feel victorious. I felt free. Mark lost his position within months. The firm issued a statement, "We do not tolerate misconduct." People who once ignored me started reaching out. Old coworkers, women who'd stayed silent for years. They thanked me. Some even joined a case of their own. But I didn't do it for revenge. I did it so no one else had to record their survival to be heard. They called it insubordination. The judge called it courage. And I call it the day I finally got my voice back.